Hi everyone, in this video I am sharing how we changed our kitchen bridge mixer taps for our Belfast sink. Unfortunately, our old taps had completely corroded and were leaking. I was having to put a tea towel around the taps every day and it was just really damaging the wood. The taps and the sink really needed some attention. In my last video, I shared how I changed the sink waste. But before I did that, I needed to change the taps because obviously I needed to take the sink out to get to the taps. First, I needed to remove all the old silicone, which was really mouldy and black in places. I had to do this because I needed to be able to remove the sink altogether to get to the taps. When Belfast sinks are fitted, they are put into position and fitted, and then the worktop is placed over the top and fixed. This was really problematic for me because I didn't want to remove the worktop. I'd have to get the tiles off and everything. So to get to the sink, I had to remove the front trim and the sink waste because you could see then, once it was all taken apart, that the actual area on the sink, like the ceramic part of the sink, was protruding below the shelf. So in the end, I had to cut it out to remove the sink. These are the beautiful taps that I've bought from this company, Lusso Stone they're called, and oh my goodness, they are beautiful and beautifully packed. So they are a nickel bridge tap, and you get the hoses, the flexible pipe hoses. However, this hose, they're actually 500ml, which is far too long for the space that I've got. It's got an O-ring under here, it's got a rubber and then a brass nut. So that's really quite easy to fit. There are some instructions on here as well, so just to check obviously that I get everything in the right order. So I've taken the sink out. It was really tricky to do, and I ended up, as you can see, cutting a piece at the front to get it out. It was so tricky. And so what I've got behind, again, slightly disappointed to see that there are no isolator valves on the pipes. So they're 15ml pipes, 300ml flexi pipes that connect to the tap. Just what I'm thinking is, rather than reusing these, because as you can see, the nuts themselves just look really rusty. So I think what I'm going to do is replace those connectors, those pipe tap connectors, with new ones that have an inbuilt isolator valve. So if I did have a problem with the tap in the future, it would be easier for me then to swap it out. So that's the plan for today. Once the taps are fitted, or before the taps are fitted, so I'm going to put the flexi pipes in with the water off, and then going to sand all around the pipes, the taps area here, just to get everything hopefully looking a little bit better before I connect up the taps. We turn the water off, and as you can see, my husband is loosening off the nuts with a wrench and then undoing them by hand. When we were taking these off, we noticed that the old taps were not fitted correctly. They didn't have back nuts, which explains why they were always wobbly. When we took the taps out, I could see all the damage that the water had done to the wooden worktop, and I knew that that was something I really wanted to tackle. Once we'd removed the old flexi hoses, we could see that we needed to take a couple of centimetres off the copper pipes to allow space for the new 300ml flexi hoses with the isolator valves. You can see my husband here is cutting the pipes using a pipe cutter. We then were able to fit the flexi hoses, tightening them by hand and then with a wrench. On the other pipe, we wrapped the thread clockwise several times with PTFE tape to help with the seal. Once we'd fitted the isolator valves, I was able to turn the water back on and work on the water damage. I shared a video recently about how I use oxalic acid to remove water damage, so I've added a card and a link to the video in the description box below. I used that process with the oxalic acid and then sanded all the worktops. When we put the new taps into position, we could immediately see there was a problem as the tap tails were too short. This meant there was no room to fit the back nut or the hoses properly. To resolve this, I bought some tap extension pieces to add to the tap tails. I bought the tap tail extensions from City Plumbing, but you can also get them online. I've left a link to the ones that I bought in the description box below. I took the taps out again and tried to work out the fixings. You can see the extension piece there wrapped in plenty of PTFE tape. At the very top is the O-ring, and then it leaves a really small gap for the worktop, followed by the rubber washer, and then you're supposed to fit on the back nut. Now we've got a 40mm worktop, so we didn't have space for the back nut. So what we ended up doing was fitting the rubber washer, then fitting a rigid plastic washer before the extension pieces. What we were hoping then is that the extension piece would push against the rigid washer, acting like a back nut. This seemed to work well, so we fitted them and tightened everything up before testing for leaks. As you can see, we did need to use PTFE tape on all of the threads. The next step was to replace the sink and change up the sink waste, which I've shared in my last video. Here are the finished taps. I absolutely love the way they look, and I am pleased with how good the worktops now look as well. The worktops had plenty of coats of tung oil to protect them. I also bought a new teak dish drying rack and some brown glass bottles for washing up liquid and cleaning spray. Overall, I'm really happy with this DIY, and I hope this video helps you if you're fitting bridge taps or dealing with short tap tails. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.